Good morning guys, my name is Thomas Blakemore. I teach travel and sometimes triumph. This is going to be a teach video. We've made it to Thursday, which here in Dubai is the last day of the week. I've managed to daily vlog the whole week, which has been fantastic. If you haven't seen the first video, go out there, check it out. What are you doing? And today's plans are as follows. So I'm going to do a mini classroom tour. A lot of the things that I want to set up aren't set up because the kids aren't actually in. And if I put things on the boards and things like that, it won't mean anything to them. But I'm going to give you a little bit of a show around, show you what I've sort of set up. The classroom looks very different to what it did before the summer, where there was actually nothing in it. The second thing I'm going to be doing is a questions and answers. Throughout the week I asked you to send me a range of different questions in through YouTube comments and Instagram questions, and you've absolutely smashed it. So I look forward to going through a range of different questions and answering those at the end of the day. I'm not really going to be vlogging so much today again because I just really want to get as much done as possible. But we're going to sit down at the end of the video and I'll give that classroom tour and the questions and answers. Okay, so it's the end of the day, which means the weekend for me here in Dubai. And I wanted to talk through a little bit of the day. So today was like an introduction to the children who are new to the school. So not existing students, that are new to the school. And it was really nice. It had some fantastic children come in, and personality, characteristics make me more excited for the year. It makes me quite, ambitious. In terms of the title of this video, I said it was going to be a haul tour and a Q&A. So a few things that I bought recently / bought from the UK over to Dubai. A marking pen. My suitcase battered this little cardboard box, but I've got a load of purple pens now, which are going to be important for the year. Bought this the other day. This is like a roll of sticky back plastic basically, and as I give you the tour I'll be able to show you, you might be able to even see yourselves some of these red bits. So I've been able to stick down some of the statutory spelling for year 3 and 4. I'm going to be teaching year 3, so yeah, this stuff's really good. I'm going to stick down more stuff throughout the year just so that the children have things like spellings, times tables accessible for them. My handwriting's not always the best, but I've noticed that when I use a fine tip pen, then my handwriting's a little bit better. So I bought a range of fine tip pens basically, just to hopefully improve my handwriting. There's a purple one in there, so I'm going to mark with that to start off with. And yeah, they always become useful. It's just one of those things that I thought, yeah, let's go for it. Brought these over, soft ice, but funnily enough, I should have checked the orders for things like maths, because I ordered these, paid for them, and then got to school to see a huge box full of foamed ice, and I was like, what a waste of money. So it's a tip, always check the orders of your school to make sure if you're going to buy something, you're not going to waste your money, because yeah, I did. I've already used this, but white tack. I said when I made the video, the whole video, that this was going to become really useful. And when you have a little look around my classroom, you'll see some of the ways in which I've used the white tack to stick things onto walls. I can't put blue tack on because it marks the walls, and school don't like that basically, which I understand because they have to keep repainting it. Anyway, all done. Now it's time for a little bit of a tour. I will say, as I've said throughout these videos, it's not perfect, and that's because I've not put a lot of stuff up in my classroom, and that's because I don't want to put things up, because if I put things up then the kids won't actually understand what I've put up, and some of the things that I've put up I'm going to have to re-explain to the children anyway. So let's start with this zone. So this zone here used to be the reading area. I had a little bit of a change of mind, and my school have a range of different targets. I want this to be almost like a flexible seating area where children can come. I'm calling it the challenge area, or the zone of challenge, something along those lines. You'll see I've got some Bitmoji bits and pieces. I told you I'm going to get Bitmoji out. And you'll see these, which are where the targets are going to go. And I'll put the children's faces around the target so that they know what they need to improve on. Then once they've finished work or they need some sort of extension, they can come to this area, and it can be a bit of an editing / challenge area where it's just an area of improvement, which is why I've got keywords like resilience, ambitious, whether you can see it or not, I don't know, courageous, determination, and resourceful. So it's a useful little area that I plan on using quite a lot to just try and really push challenge in my classroom, and that sort of eliminating fear of failure. Next area. Okay, so in this area here, this is the main teaching area. I've got a really nice carpet going on. Down here you'll see a range of different boards. Green, yellow and red. I want this to be almost just a little way of sort of self-assessing so that the children can come and put their books down here and yeah, just use this efficiently. I also changed these posters. Before I used to have some English, Arabic posters that would say like, I will respect others. But I've deliberately crossed out the I and just put we because I want this year to be all about team, a team focus. This, I keep banging on about this, but this is such an amazing board and I can't wait to write on this. It's going to be good. I've still got to peel this off as well. And you'll also see the puppets up there. Here's the start of the Bitmoji timetable. Obviously I'll have to put the rest on. Up here is my teaching area. I've tried to keep it as minimal as possible with just a few bits and pieces here and there. Finally have a bin. This is something that I've spoken about yesterday. I spoke about this sort of sweet behaviour area. If you haven't seen that, then go on to that video. It's the day 4 video. I've started to label some of these bits up. And as and when I get the resources, then I'll start to put more stuff inside these. Water bottles. There's just a tray for the water bottles, basically. Now this, I didn't want this to be the reading area. However, just because of the challenge zone, this is going to end up being the decent reading area. I do want this to be a little bit more decorative. It's a little bit bland at the moment, and I think the children might think it's bland at the same time. And I don't want that. Got a really cool big beanbag going on here, but I finally got some books where I didn't have those books before. A little bit of a carpet area. This year I'm going to be focusing on a range of different skills. Twinkle do some really nice reading domain skills and some good display stuff. So I'm going to really utilise that from Twinkle. So cheers Twinkle. This is my maths working rule. I'll be able to write the focus up the top, so whether it's addition, multiplication, that will go up there. And then around this section here, obviously I'll give some good examples. Then I've already got key terminology. So you've got things like equals to equals, you've got times to, multiply by, and times, those sorts of things. Like I said at the start, I've got things here ready to put up on my display, but I don't want to do that because the children won't understand the terminology that is related with these operations. So it's important for them to focus on that. I'm not going to put it in the Q&A, but I got a question about my Tollsby frames, so I'll talk through it now. Someone asked what I put inside my Tollsby frames, and I have some really good packs of stuff available. Again, Twinkle, cheers. I don't want this classroom to be sponsored by Twinkle, but they do some really good resources. So we've got things like 3D Shape when I get to it, and I need more math stuff. They've got good times table stuff and 100 squares, bits and pieces that you might want inside the classroom. This is how I've got my tables at the moment, excuse the mess. But as I was saying before, I've got this sticky stuff now, so the children can start to develop their language and make sure that they're spelling correctly. This is just another display area. I've finally got books down here labelled. I will show you these very quickly. I'm not going to show you the front page because it's got children's names on. I've had a real focus on these guys. So inside, if I can show you that, I've put different spellings and bits and pieces that I can send home so that the children can learn them at home. And I've also put inside, I don't want to lose the page, these. These are great. They relate to the different reading domains. A lot of the times when I ask parents to read at home, I tell my parents to try and ask questions. And a lot of the parents say, well, what questions do you want me to ask? So I'm hoping something like this will be quite beneficial. So if I say, right, I want you to ask inference Iggy questions, for example, it will say something like, well, what do you think something means? Why do you think that? So that the parents have a better idea of what questions to ask at home. All of the parents that I have at the moment within my school are really supportive, which is fantastic, and just want to do the best by their children. So giving little prompts like this hopefully will support reading in my class. So this is my English working rule for now. This is just my blank bit that I'll probably write a range of different features for whatever text type that I'm studying with the kids. Now here, you'll see I have a range, a real good range of Tollsby frame templates so that the children can come, pick up whatever they need, slot these in, and then it's independent learning. So they're independently supporting themselves. I can prompt them obviously through my teaching, but it's there for the children to access. So that marks the end of my mini tour. If you've got any more questions about my classroom and what I've been doing inside my classroom, you know where the comments are. So Q&A time. So I've written a load of questions on this big post-it note pack. Look at the size of this. Okay, so question number 1, how do I manage workload? to avoid burnout? So I'm probably the worst person to ask about this because I will just push and push and push until I reach that burnout point. Now, the problem is, obviously that's not good for teaching. So I've learned over the past 3 years to start to understand that it's okay to just be okay. I'm a bit of a perfectionist, as a lot of people are, and for me, I would stop in until all my work is done, making sure that all my things like displays and things like that, making sure that everything is polished, making sure that everything is accounted for. And I started to understand that if I do that, then I'm going to burn out. And I spoke to, head teachers before, and they would prefer a teacher who is okay, not perfect as a teacher, but prefer them to be in than just push and push and push and burn out, basically. When it comes to workload specifically, I don't feel like I can really help with workload because that comes down to your school, which is, tied to well-being and things like that. Are they making you do ridiculously detailed plans? Are they making you mark with like 5 different coloured pens? What extra paperwork are they making you do? It's things like that, like reflections, that's another piece of paperwork. It's things like that that significantly adds to the workload. Those are the things that I don't have in my school lit. So that means that my workload is less. Therefore, I can start to maintain and develop a better work-life balance. Everyone seeks this sort of solution to workload, but it comes down to SLT. I will create another video at some point in terms of how to create a work-life balance. So if you ask that question, then I can start to give you some sorts of solutions to try and help you with that process. What inspired me to become a primary school teacher, and what did you get for your A-levels? I want that to be a separate video, if that's okay. I want it to be about my teaching journey. Someone else has asked me about this as well on Instagram. I want this to be a separate video. I just think it would be better to sort of talk about my starting point, and separate video, promise. Teaching journey, how long do I plan on teaching abroad? So I've been there for 1 year at the moment. I have a 2-year contract, and fingers crossed it gets renewed because I would really like to stop in Dubai. It works on a renewal basis, basically. Do I have Twitter? No. I came out of education Twitter a while ago, and I just don't like it. I think it's become way too negative. I prefer Instagram for education things. Thomas Blakemore is my Instagram if you want to find that. Cool. No, I don't have Twitter. How did you start teaching? Holly, I'm going to get into that in my teaching journey. Basically, rundown. I was a swimming teacher first is the short answer, but I'll get into that. Suzanne, I'm going to leave some of them out for other videos and bits and pieces like that, but I'm going to come to a couple of questions. What's the main similarities and differences you have found between teaching in the UK and Dubai? So in the UK and in my school in Dubai, both use the British curriculum. So the form of teaching here in Dubai is pretty much completely the same. There are some different subjects, so that's different. You teach social studies and MEC, which is like a moral education, which is similar to PSHE again. So that there are some differences. In terms of the main thematic difference, I think parents is the biggest difference. I find that the parents here in Dubai are absolutely amazing in terms of the support that you get and the culture of respect for the teachers, but it's a little bit different in the UK. I'm often asked by students about their own behaviour. Was I good today? Do students ask similar questions, and if so, how do you answer? No. If I was to get asked that question, that would be a difficult one to sort of answer. I'd understand that, especially if the child had not been good. I'd have to speak about, giving that constructive criticism that you've done this well, not done this well. But generally, because my classroom is so positivity orientated, it's not a question that I get asked. Personal MFL teacher, can you speak Arabic? No. I can say Assalamu alaikum. I can say, putting me on the spot now. Marhaba, shukran, khaif hal, which is how are you, but no. What's the worst thing a student has done? Oh gosh, I'm finding this one hard to answer. In my NQT year, this is a funny story actually. In my NQT year, I was on my NQT/PPA time, and I think the child in question didn't like the person who was covering PPA. So it's not directly linked to me, but set the fire alarm off to try and just escape the classroom. They saw it as an excuse to escape the classroom, and so bam. And I was like, oh, child got in trouble, things like that. But yeah, that's probably one of the worst things. But yeah, that was kind of funny looking back on it now. How do you deal with kids from countries, i.e. ability, and what they've already been taught? So yeah, in an international school, there's always gaps because children come from different countries. When they come from different countries, I think this is what you're on about. When they come from different countries, they might have learnt a different curriculum. So in different curriculums, they teach different topics. So there's quite often gaps in learning. So I think the key really is to plug the gaps. For example, one child might come to me from, I don't know, name a curriculum, and they might miss certain parts of phonics out. So it's important for the children to learn the phonics so that they're able to phonetically dissect words when reading. So that's one way of plugging gaps, but plugging gaps is the answer to that question. What do you do to unwind when you come home from work? Eat? No. Gym would probably be the main thing to say about it, because I feel like it's a good stress relief and it's a good way to help me relax. It also makes me feel a little bit better, you know, releases endorphins and those sorts of things. And yeah, it's just a generally good pick me up, and it helps me keep fit. How do you compare teaching in Dubai to teaching in the UK? Personally prefer it here in the Dubai. That's not the one. Personally prefer it here in Dubai because of the culture. I think there's a lot more of a respected culture towards education here in Dubai. That's a personal thing. I just prefer education here in Dubai. What was your motivation / reason? I'm struggling to speak. It's the end of the week. What was your main motivation / reason? I still say it. What was your main motivation / reason / inspiration to go to Dubai to teach? The weather. No, it's too hot. Sometimes it's too hot. I think for me, it became a case of why not? I think it became a case of I would be silly not to go. I was a young lad with, you know, a whole life ahead of him, and things back home in the UK, they weren't bad, but when it came to things like the weekends, I'd struggle to find things to do. I wasn't sure what I was going to do in terms of like social life, and it became a case of why not, and it became a case of what have you got to lose. I also knew a little bit about teaching here in Dubai and the perks of teaching in Dubai, and I was just a bit like, yeah, why not, basically. I had no ties in the UK other than missing my family, which is another question I've been asked, what do I miss? You know, I miss my family massively, but there were no ties, so I decided I'm just gonna make the move. Mr. Fox, my man, one piece of equipment that you couldn't live without. Got it. I'll show you. This is the one piece of equipment that I could not live without. Let me explain. I need to put this back. Call me old school. I know that there's still interactive whiteboards, but interactive whiteboards more frequently, for some reason, seem to have problems. And yeah, interactive whiteboards, yeah, they sometimes just the bane of my life. But when it comes to adapting lessons and things like that, a simple whiteboard is fantastic. You can change lessons on the spot. Yeah, that thing for me is, you know, my life when it comes to teaching. Did you ever consider any other countries or just the UAE? Yes, I did consider other countries, and I'm still considering other countries maybe at some point in my teaching career. Things like, you know, places like Hong Kong, although, you know, protests, and Singapore. But I think for now, Dubai is a nice distance away. If I go to those places, it will be a long time for me to get back to home. And as I said before, yeah, I miss family. And I'm gonna finish the Q&A on this question. I like this question from Ben Cav. What would you be if you weren't a teacher? It's a hard question to answer because it sort of goes along my teaching journey. But I struggle to think about what I wanted to be when I was, you know, coming out of college. And I felt like everyone had their life together and everyone knew what they wanted to be, but I didn't. And I'll speak about this when I do my teaching journey video. And yeah, so everyone else had their life together. For me, if I was to be something else, I just wanted a career where I could help people, basically. Something where I could help people. So whether it be something in the emergency services, something like a paramedic. At some point, I wanted to be a police officer, although I went into the police cadets and wasn't thrilled by being a police officer. You know, I realized some of the tricky parts of the job, didn't like it. So I just wanted to be in a profession where I could help people. Teaching is a fantastic profession because not only do you get to help people, you get to help many people. So that's always good. So end of the Q&A, end of the video. I just want to say a massive thank you to everyone who has watched every single episode of these daily vlogs from day 1 to my final day this week. Hopefully this video, along with the other videos, has maybe helped you in some way. I always say with my videos, if my videos help one person, then that's the purpose of the videos ticked off. If you like the video, feel free to like it down in the corner. If you've loved the video, feel free to subscribe down in the corner. If you tick the notification bell, then you'll be notified about when I post my videos. If you want to see more teaching and traveling videos, then you can click into my channel and you'll be able to see more teaching and traveling videos. Yeah. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video, and yeah, I'll see you in the next one. I'm out.